Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Baruch Kodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS who have taught us this word and teach us this word today. And I want to give a salutation unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is the brother Yatazakba with the GMS Nebraska camp. And in this lesson, I want to speak on another sign showing that we're getting closer to the prophecy in Revelation chapter 13, verse 16 coming to pass. What the prophets of the Lord have been constantly preaching for years is that the ruler of this world, Esau Edom, who is the so-called white man, the elites of Esau want to administer the mark of the beast, as we read in Revelation 13, upon all, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. And this is what is commonly called the New World Order, the Great Reset. You know, these different phrases and terms. But at the end of the day, this is Esau's enterprise that he wants to bring about. And leading up to that, Esau can't just flip the switch and get everybody administered with the mark, which is the RFID chip. He can't just put that in everybody overnight and just change everything. There's things that have to be set up in order for this system to work, such as, digital infrastructure, AI, different things. And as we look into the world, we see things slowly but surely, and the term slowly, or the description of slowly, is becoming a thing of the past, because things are speeding up. We're seeing things go toward Esau's system of the mark, and it is manifesting right before our eyes, such as cash being phased out. And we see digital payments are becoming the norm, where over 80% of transactions in stores are with digital payments now. Now we're seeing that, identification is going digital, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, speaking about the real ID. Because what we're going to speak on is from this article here, AZ or ArizonaFamily.com, which is the article is titled "TSA Announces $45 Fee for Air Travelers Without Real ID." Now, on the surface, that doesn't seem, like it is that groundbreaking, because the real ID in and of itself isn't a digital identification. It's just a new system of identification that is being used in the U.S. But the thing is, a tactic that Esau uses to herd everybody into his new system is that he makes using the old system inconvenient and a hassle. Because instead of paying $45, what you could just easily do instead is just go ahead and go to the DMV, do your process of getting your new ID. It's probably going to take you 30 minutes. Fill out the paperwork, show the identification you need to show. Boom, get your ID, you're good. And if you don't do that, if you want to take a flight somewhere, you got to pay $45. Even if you're not taking a flight, a lot of stores won't accept the previous IDs. So it makes it to where that system becomes obsolete. That system becomes a hassle, and you have to get with the times. You have to get with the new option that Esau gives you. And while we're talking about real IDs, which is just a new form of the card that you have in your wallet, eventually this is going to be the digital ID, which is eventually going to be the mark of the beast, the RFID chip. We look in Britain, the UK, and the Prime Minister put out the decree that what? You won't be able to work unless you get a digital ID. And so it makes it that if you want to take care of yourself, if you want to take care of your family, if you want to make money, you have to go with Esau's system. And so this is the tactic that we see him using. This is the form of gradualism, where things get harder and harder. The squeeze gets tighter unless you succumb to Esau. So let's get into this article a bit. We're going to get into the Revelation 13, which we'll read some of that first before we read the article. Let's go to Revelation chapter 13. We're going to start in Revelation chapter 13, verse 15, which says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. So what is that image of the beast? It's not a literal image. It's not a literal picture. It's speaking about Esau's Greco-Roman way, his way of life, his philosophy, essentially, which are the different ideas that he pushes, such as the different religions that he has pushed upon this earth, the freedom to believe whatever you want. It's democracy. It's LGBTQ plus. It's women's rights. It's the system of capitalism and everything that's an umbrella under that. You know, it's Esau's way of life that is contrary to how the Most High Yahweh created things to be and created people to walk in. It's Esau's ideas and what he thinks is right, how he wants the people to think. So Esau is giving power to give life unto the image of the beast. And how is he giving life unto the image of the beast? Well, let's read on. It says that the image of the beast should both speak. So it's speaking. It's speaking in the aspect that we see this is the way that people practice in the earth. We're in the system of capitalism. We go to fast food places. LGBTQ rights is paraded and people practice it and walk in it. People do this wickedness. People are worshiping these different religions and things of the sort. This is the image of the beast speaking. People are believing in these ideologies. It's the fact that if you say certain things on social media, you could get canceled. And let's read on. It says, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast or walk in that fashion should be killed. Now, it's going to get to a point to where the penalty for not walking in Esau's way, not walking in his way of life, the penalty could be death when it gets to a certain point. But when it says killed there, it's not always speaking about literal death. Because when you get into the Greek word for killed, it's the Greek word apakteno. And then when you get into the root of that Greek word, which is apo, it means of separation. So what that means is that you'll be separated from society or separated out of Esau's system unless you are worshiping the image of the beast. And so that separation, what does that look like? Well, that looks like not being able to buy or sell, not being able to do certain things, not being able to get a job unless you're going in the fashion that Esau wants you to walk in. And that word, it relates to that word killed, because if you can't fit into society or do anything or go anywhere or have access to anything, essentially you've been erased from living life, So let's read verse 16. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So what Esau wants to do is that every single inhabitant underneath his rule, whether you're just a regular citizen or you're a celebrity, whether you're in prison or you're walking about, whatever your status is in society, he wants you to receive that mark in your right hand or in your forehead. He wants you to get administered with that chip. We see it happening right now. We see overseas, over there in Sweden, a lot of people have it. We see people getting the Neuralink, which and the Stentro technology. There's another one that I forget the name of, but all these different companies that's putting these so-called brain-computer interfaces in people's brains. That's the MOTB. But what Esau wants to do is that eventually he wants everybody to get it. But again, he can't do that just like that. He can't just pop up one day and be like, all right, this is what people got to get now, because people are going to shun it. They're not going to be accepting of it just like that. But what you have to do is herd people closer and closer to that system, so that when that is what's made mandatory and that's what is pushed, it only makes sense to get it, so-called. Just like, at one point your identification was the different paperwork you had, or we'll use the money, for example. Cash was the norm. That was what you carried around and had on you. But now Esau has made it to where, and he's making it to where using cash is going to be more and more difficult. It's getting to the point to where more and more places aren't using cash, and digital payment is becoming the norm. It is the norm at this point. Well, that's eventually where we're going to get with this mark. And when we read in this article here where it says that there's a $45 fee unless you get the real ID, that points towards that direction. Because what is the real ID for? Well, what is the mark for? Because it's not just a system of buying and selling. As we read in the next verse in Revelation 13 and 17, it says, "And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark." It's not just about buying and selling. This is about control at the end of the day. Because Esau wants to rule over the inhabitants of this earth as if he is God. That's why the scriptures say in 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4, it says, we'll start at verse 3, but it says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first," which is speaking about us, the Israelites. We fell away from our heritage, we are returning to it in this time, but I don't want to digress too much. I'll read on. It says, "And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition," which is speaking about Esau, Edom, the son of perdition. Perdition meaning destruction. This is a destructive, vile, villainous man that is in rule, the wicked. He is the man of sin, the border of wickedness. And it says in verse 4, "Who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High." And that's what these technocrats and these different, people who want to push this MOTB, this is what their agenda is. They want to rule as God. They believe that they can replace the Most High Yahweh with their knowledge and wisdom. And so that's what the point of this MOTB really is. It's about control at the end of the day. What Esau wants to create is a system of surveillance and governance that is unescapable. Because once you get the MOTB within your skin, then Esau got tabs on you at all times. You gotta rip it out your skin or cut your hand off to be severed from that system. Right now we got phones, but you can turn your phone off. You can get rid of your phone. Right now Esau got cameras, but there's places where cameras aren't. You can duck that system. There's a lot of tracking, but there's no tracking like having a tracker inside of you. That's what Esau wants to do. And even further than tracking, it's about controlling what you're able to do. Because once you have the MOTB, you have to operate within Esau's way. Once you get that chip, Esau going to be able to know what you're thinking, what you might do next, all these different things. And so when we go to the real ID, I want to go to this because I was asking the AI a couple of questions about it, because I didn't understand what the difference between the previous ID cards that we used and the real ID. I didn't understand what the difference was between them. But let's read here, and it's going to give some of those differences. So it says, the real ID has higher federal standards and requires proof of identity such as a birth certificate, passport, social security number, and residency documents. But the previous IDs, they had a lower standard of identification, had fewer verification requirements, like just your social security number, just address proof. But with this new ID, there's more information that's kept on you, basically. As a matter of fact, let me scroll down because it gave some more. It said you must present original or certified documents from the federal list. And in the previous IDs, it said usually no social security document was required, only self attestation. So it wasn't as strict. It says let me see here. It says there's a facial image verification with this new Real ID. It says a mandatory automated facial recognition check against existing DMV photos, which with the previous ID, they didn't do that facial recognition test. What that test was for is to check if you have another ID with your picture on it, but you're going under a different name, or it's in, or you're trying to do some type of fraud or something. They didn't do that before. It's about making sure that Esau got tabs on you, that he knows exactly what you're doing. You ain't trying to do nothing fishy. You ain't trying to do nothing under the table. Esau wants everything. He basically wants his hands in everything. He wants to keep tabs on everything that everybody doing. Let me see here. There's another one. Let me find it real fast. One more just good point that I thought to bring out. That would be good to bring out. Okay, here it says the state DMV must electronically verify every document with the issuing agency. And with the previous IDs, they didn't do that electronic process. Things were more just manual. But now we're going into this electronic digital age. So the Real ID is the ID that we have in our wallets. And you that's listening to this video, you probably have a Real ID. There's not a huge difference, but again, it's gradualism. It's small steps, because eventually it's going to go from this Real ID to where it's going to be like what's going on in the UK. Now we're going to have to go to the DMV and get a digital ID that's going to have all our information on that. We're going to be able to have our ID on our phones, which that's what's going on right now. Apple has introduced that in your Apple wallet, the same way you can put your credit card or your debit card in your wallet and pay with your phone. Well, now you can put your ID in your phone, and that's a valid proof of identification. And Esau is just consolidating all these forms of identification on a person, whether from your wallet to your actual ID, your passport. Eventually, it's going to be your keys. It's going to be everything that you carry on your person, but he's consolidating it into one thing. And it's going to, the final form of that is going to be the MOTB, where everything is going to be on that. Because when we go to Revelation 13 and verse 16, it says, when we get into that Greek word for the word mark, it's the Greek word charagma, which is a stamp and imprinted mark showing that this is a physical thing. Of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. That's what it says in the blue letter. The blue letter goes off at times, though. This isn't, there isn't one ultimate Antichrist. The scripture says that there are many Antichrists. That's just anyone that's against Yahweh Shai, or that's against the anointed, against Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And really it's those that's going to be the followers of Esau and his system. It says the mark branded upon horses, because that's essentially what this MOTB serves as. It's a just like you mark a horse or cattle to show who it belongs to. That's what the MOTB serves as. Once you get that stamped inside of you, you're saying that you belong to Esau. Now, the point of why I wanted to come here is to go to the root of this word, which is the Greek word grapho, which means to write with reference to the form of the letters, to delineate or form letters on a tablet, parchment, paper, or other material. So things written, basically, which is the data that's going to be kept on this MOTB. Because that's what it's all about. Just like we have all this data that's in these phones, all these things that's in the cloud, that's identification on us. Well, that's all going to be on that small chip that's going to be inside of you, all that data that's going to be written. So let's read a little bit in the article, which, we kind of talked about it, but we'll just read some and get what they're saying. So it says, travelers who still don't have their Real ID and want to fly will soon be required to pay a fee to get to their gate at any airport across the country, including Phoenix Sky Harbor. Let's see. It's going to be a $45 service for travelers who lack an acceptable form of identification. And that's the thing. Esau can change the rules on what's acceptable, and there's going to be different things that he does that makes it, that makes why he deems something acceptable or unacceptable. Because he can say, well, now we're going to do digital because you could lose your ID, or because of this or because of that. Just like with cash, they're saying that digital money is the way to go because of all the issues that cash has. You know, someone could steal your wallet, you could drop your money, and all these different things. But now with this ID, you know, Esau could say is harder to commit fraud with this. It's more secure. So this is the acceptable way now. And that's the thing. Let's go to Isaiah 10:1, which says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness which they have prescribed. You know, because this is an unrighteous decree at the end of the day. This is a law that Esau is writing to perpetuate his wicked agenda. And he's making it seem like it's something good or something that's, you know, need to be done. But it's all about bringing his new world order to pass. He has wicked intentions with it. And it says, woe unto them that do this. So there's going to be a destruction upon Esau for pushing the system and upon those who go along with it, as it says in Revelation 14:9. But it says, the service fee, which goes into effect February 1st, covers the cost of a new identity verification technology, which must be paid online before boarding. So let's jump down a bit. It says, other acceptable forms of ID include military IDs, permanent resident cards, and photo IDs. Oh, no, select, that's not the part. And photo IDs from federally recognized tribal nations. Here it go. TSA also accepts digital IDs through platforms such as Apple Wallet, Google Wallet, and Samsung Wallet at more than 250 airports in the U.S. And eventually that's going to be the standard. Just like it mentioned military IDs and resident cards and all that, you're going to have to get something digital that's showing that. Get that on your phone. And the thing is, if you don't have, you know, a way to show that digitally, then you're going to have to pay a fee, or you ain't going to be able to fly. You better go get you a phone or you better get whatever provision Esau set for you to follow his agenda. You know, so let's go down a bit. So here it says more than 94% of passengers are already compliant with the updated ID guidelines. So that's the thing. We have to get to this point of 94% of people already being with this real ID thing. We have to get to the point of over 80% of transactions in stores being digital. And it was a gradual process. It didn't just start like this in this country or in the world. So now what's going to happen is that the next step is going to be laid. Esau is going to go to his next part of gradualism. Expect soon that the same type of decree that was laid in the UK, that you have to get a digital ID to work, something similar is going to come to America. Because worldwide, Esau wants to make sure that everybody gets that MOTB. You know, now the scriptures say what? Well, I mentioned it before with Revelation 14:9, that we aren't supposed to get with this system because there's a destruction that comes with it. But why is there a destruction that comes with getting that mark? It's because you are basically giving yourself over to Esau. You are basically claiming Esau as your God and pushing aside the Most High Yahweh. Because what Esau is going to do is make it that, you know, life is going to be very difficult to live unless you get the MOTB, and it's going to take faith to live without it, or to be sustained without it. But for the elect of the nation of Israel, they are going to have faith in Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, that we will be sustained. That's the scriptures promise that we will. You know, let's go to this real fast, which is Romans chapter 11, verse 4, which says, but what said the answer of the Most High unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. Now that 7,000 men isn't literally 7,000. That 7,000 represents a perfect amount, which is the 144,000, 12,000 out of each of the 12 tribes of Israel, and the 1/3 of the nation of Israel. Because this is who this whole, this is who this message is for. of this warning of this time that's coming, of the gospel. This is about the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and those of the Israelites that look like these different nations. We are the only ones who have a chance of salvation, and the ones who are who it is directed toward to avoid this system. It says, even so then at this present time, there's also a remnant according to the election of grace. So that remnant, that election, they're going to not accept this technology. And the elect are going to need a very large amount of faith in these times that we're coming into, because not only are we going to be facing a world that is going to separate us from it unless we get this technology, but it's also going to be a time where Esau is going to be rolling down upon the men of the Lord. And, those of us who don't get that mark, he's going to be taking some of us into prison. He's going to be putting some of us to death. So it's going to take a lot of faith to know and to, hold fast to these scriptures that tell us that there's a reward at the end of all this. That's why this is called the hour of temptation. It's going to be the hardest test that we've ever went through in our lives. But as the scriptures say in Matthew 6, and we'll go to verse 25, it says, therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body than raiment? Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they? So there's going to be a level of worry and doubt that's going to come upon us in the flesh, a very high level of it too. Satan going to be attacking us, telling us that we supposed to succumb to his flesh, that we should just go ahead and get the MOTB. Satan going to be coming at us through family members. That's going to be calling us bugged out and getting on us for shunning this system. But at the end of the day, let's go down to verse 33, which says, but seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High and his righteousness, and all these things should be added unto you. If we hold fast, the Lord's going to take care of us. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. The Lord know what we need. The Lord know that we going to be struggling. And you think that he's going to just leave us out here stuck and not sustain us and take care of us, and we're holding fast unto him? Nah, So, these times are coming very soon. Esau is making moves, and this $45 fee here, this is just a closer step, So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Baharakdash. I want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS, and a salutation unto the elect.